All right, guys, we are about to start. We got some snacks today, hummus, some corn chips, and some salsa. So we're going to eat while we're on the air. Unless you want to work out, we're going to do it anyway. What you need? What you need? Oh, you need some vodka? Which one's yours? That it? Down?
No.
Oh, that's you. Okay, got you. Well, go ahead. You do it, bro.
With the minister, Jonathan Simmons, on Real Talk Sports, 1570 WIGO, bringing a different perspective to sports journalism.
All right. I like that lady hollering at the end.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you are listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. You just tuned in, and I'm the minister, Jonathan Simmons, the minister in the building here. Very excited to be back in the building after being away for the week. Last week we were out at an event live, and we could not bring that to you, but we are back in the building now here, and we're going to go around the booth as we always do. To my right, a man who is a deacon in his church, but he's a bad man when he comes here. Mr. Miles T. is in the building.
Yes, sir. Good to be here.
Sounds like it. And right across from me, see, he must have sniffed out two things. Number one, that Vasher was not going to be here. And two, that we'd be talking a little SEC football. The guy that always wears the Alabama Crimson Tide. VJ's in the building.
Yes, sir. How you doing tonight?
Doing good, brother. Doing fantastic. And right across from me, a guy who plied his trade right down the flats at Georgia Tech. One of the greatest defensive players ever to lace him up for Tech or for the ACC. They call him the Captain America. Ken Swilling in the building.
Good evening, sir. How are you?
Sir, it's good to be back.
It's good. It's good to be here. It's good to be seen.
Good to be seen.
All of that good stuff. You got snacks on the table tonight. I know that's going to be a trouble in the city. So if you hear some crunching, you already know what it is.
I got a toothpick.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Hold it.
Marcel, you missed it tonight. I know you didn't come in.
Right, but you
really missed it. You really missed it.
Now, here's the thing, guys. You notice that all of us here, with the exception of VJ, are all plus-size men here. Okay, we're all in excess of 200-plus pounds. So for VJ is holding it down for the slim and trim.
Trying to hold it down.
Amen.
Yeah, he young and tender. That don't count.
Wow. Young and tender.
Yeah, that don't count.
Right,
that don't count, man.
Well, here's the good news, though, ladies. You ladies, just to let you know, I'm a man that is trying to do right. I'm actually a social media ambassador for the DeKalb Board of Health. So our snacks today include low-fat chips and corn chips, very low in sodium and in fat content. And to go along, our dip is a peach mango salsa and hummus. How you like us now?
Hummus.
Hold on. Miles, the first time you said, what is this? Hummus?
Hummus. Like no mas. Hummus. That was Miles. Matter of fact, folks, when I first brought the hummus out, Miles appeared to be afraid of the hummus.
Yeah.
So, but we thank God that he's broken past the fear, and he's dived in like the rest of us here. And speaking of diving in, you can dive in and be a part of our crazy banter here on our show. Phone line, 404-361-1571. Again, you're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show. You also can find us broadcasting live on our website, realtalksports.net. Just click the Listen Live button, and you can find us broadcasting there. And also, if you're mobile, don't worry. You can find us on the free TuneIn Radio app. Just put in WIGO 1570 in the search engine, and voila, you'll be listening to us there live. Now, for those of you who are listening not on Tuesday night at 8 o'clock, you, of course, cannot call in. But if this is Tuesday night and it's between the hours of 8 and 9, you can call us again, 404-361-1571. We also are live streaming on Facebook Live. Go to our page, Real Talk Sports, and you will find us broadcasting right there live on Facebook. Well, guys, Major League Baseball normally is slow motion, but this time of year is actually kind of exciting, and last night did not disappoint. It's just the other night did not disappoint. Home Run Derby. The biggest man in the game.
Man, that's a beast.
Right.
That's a beast right there. He should be playing defense in the NFL somewhere.
well, literally, because he's actually one of the. There's only two other guys that have actually played in the All-Star game that have been bigger. I think Adam Dunn at 285. I forget the other guy who was actually 295. And then Randy Johnson, of course, was the tallest guy to play in the game at 6'10". But we'll give you those stats there. Here comes the judge, Aaron Judge, 6'7", 282 pounds. He's actually gained 7 pounds. He was 275. 282 pounds.
Rookie.
Ken, that's a fair sized fellow.
Yeah, he's a big guy. Big guy. He should be a tight end or something somewhere.
It's a lot of power.
If you go to ESPN, they got a cool thing on ESPN.com. They go measuring up with the judge, and they basically show him, and then a split screen they run different players. And so they showed, of course, Gronkowski was about the same, 6'7", but only about 260.
Right.
They showed Bellinger, who also was in that home run contest. He's 6'4", about 250. But we're not talking 6'7", 282.
How big is Mike Trout?
No, Trout's a small. Trout's around 6'3", 6'4", and maybe around 220. He's closer in size to Bryce Harper because Bryce Harper's 6'3", 215. Okay. So those guys are just, for baseball, regular sized guys. Adam Jones is a pretty big guy. I think he's around 6'5", 230, 240, the slugger for Baltimore. So you do have some big guys, but nobody as big as the judge. And he hit some of the longest blasts that we have seen.
Yeah, he hit quite a few over 500 feet.
Yes, sir.
He had one that hit the top of the stadium.
Right, on the ascent.
On the ascent. And it was going to be a home run, but it was...
We don't know how far that would travel. Yeah, hit the beam. And
if it had been an open-air stadium, it might have went out of the stadium.
Yep, you're correct.
That was unreal.
Well, Ken, you know how it is when your peers are excited about what you've done. You've seen it yourself both on the sidelines, from other teams, even the All-Star games, when you do something that even your peers, because it's not like you at a backyard situation. You're not like here you're doing the exhibition in front of some fans. You have other guys that like you're selected to be the best in the game. If you watch the look on some of the players, especially when the ball hit the roof. I mean, these guys all in the home run derby. They're like, "Oh man, you can see them mouthing. Did you see that?" That's when you know you're doing something.
Yeah, you're doing something special. It's almost like watching when Vince Carter was in the dunk contest, and everybody else was doing dunks, but they wasn't doing what Vince was doing.
He was doing some other things.
He was doing some other things, So that was good. That was good to see. It was good for baseball last night. Good moment.
It really was.
Speaking of good for baseball, do you think that the All-Star game, of course, this year it doesn't quote unquote mean anything, but do you think they shouldn't continue to tweak the game to try to bring interest? One of the things I think they should do is really, and they've done it over the years, but I think they should do more of limiting the amount of intra-league games. Matter of fact, I think you should really do that every other year, because to me, one of the big thrills about the All-Star game was seeing guys that you didn't see during the regular season. Those marquee matchups, which now you might get Scherzer against Judge, but back in the day, you wasn't going to get that unless you got an All-Star game. So to me, that kind of pent up some of this stuff. I mean, what do you think about the idea of maybe cutting back interleague play to every other year?
Well, I like interleague play the way it is pretty much. I liked it when it started because of that, because it gave you a chance to see a guy that you wouldn't normally see. When you would, unless they were in an All-Star game, unless they made it to the series, unless, you wouldn't play under those rules. The only thing that I wish they would kind of tweak and change is get it right whether we're going to have a DH or no DH. That's the only thing I wish they would kind of, I'm a National League kind of guy. I like the National League. I like the way everything is. It's kind of fun to see. To see him play without the pitcher hitting, because most of the time the pitcher doesn't have to hit. He doesn't have to have any chances to move around over or anything like that. He doesn't have to have any sacrifices over on that side. So it's weird to see him when they do it, when they have to come into a National League park and they really don't train to do it. They look really lost. So
do y'all like the long innings? The 9-10 innings, y'all like that? Okay.
You talking about extra inning play?
Because they've been talking about shortening the game a little bit. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, shortening the game is not. They're not going to take away any innings.
Okay.
Well, I know what they say. To make the pace faster or to make the play faster. Now they did do some rule changes as far as like. When it before they would have you throwing 4 balls instead of now you can just
make the sign.
Make the sign. You're gonna send the guy on. So that's kind of those are efforts to change to make it a little faster pace. I mean, every hitter has all these different idiosyncrasies they go through before they get into a batter's box. So that kills a lot. that kills a lot of it right there, because you get one hitter, if he takes 9 or 10 balls or fouls off 9 or 10 balls, you're talking about an at bat that's going to last between 5 and 10 minutes.
Yeah.
So and baseball is slow, and that's why the participation on some levels is down in some communities. So.
Yeah, I think that as far as limiting yourself for how many innings you'll play as far as extra innings, I don't know. There's been talk about limiting maybe to 13, 14 as far as, and that's it. If the game's tied, it's tied. I don't know how it's going to work out, but I don't think they'll be able to do that.
They're not going to be able to do that.
You're going to have to play to somebody win. Even if you say we're going to play the second part the next day, you have to do that. Listen, guys, you can give us a call, 404-361-1571. Well, from Wimbledon across the pond, Venus Williams is appearing like the ageless wonder. Age 37, she finds herself once again back in the semifinals. Can she win this thing at 37?
It's possible. She's playing pretty good. She's actually playing better than she has. Since she was diagnosed with the disease she has, that was causing her to get tired. I think her fitness is a little bit better than it has been in years past. So it's very, very possible. It's amazing to me when you look at her age. You look at Serena's 34, 35 herself, and they're still at a peak level of playing tennis, and it doesn't matter what court they're on or what kind of course they have to play on or who they're playing against. Question for the panel: does that speak volumes about them, or does that speak volumes about the talent that they have to play against? Is it lesser talent that they're playing against?
I don't think it's lesser talent. I think you definitely got to give them credit, especially since they've been doing this for a long time. Like you said, their season. You have to respect the two sisters that are a major part. They make you want to watch tennis. Like, I never was into tennis, but when I heard about Venus and Serena, I would flip my TV to it just to see what was going on. Just because I was interested in it. Come on.
Keep going. Go ahead. You're okay. I'll explain in a minute. You're okay. Go ahead.
Just to see, their athleticism and how far they've matured in the game is a big thing. So I think she does have the capability to win.
Serena's not playing in this one, right?
Serena is pregnant, man.
Exactly. So, you didn't let me finish. She wasn't playing in this one, right? So therefore, she does have a chance. That's what I'm about to say.
Okay.
Yeah, that was basically what you're telling me. That was a shot.
That wasn't a shot.
Shots fired.
Basically, because she's going to win now.
Yeah, I mean, she ain't. She got the chance. Yeah.
If one wins, they both win, really.
Right. But here's something to consider, though. As great as Serena is, in fact, they both say that they are the other's toughest competitor. So if, in fact, you're right, if Serena had not been playing all these years, Venus would be by far. And vice versa, because they usually beat one another in the finals. So definitely some great stuff going on with Venus, and just kudos to what she's able to do, and kudos to them, because remember, and I asked her this question on the press conference, because she is coming here. That's the other thing, guys, I want to remind you, if you have not seen Venus Williams in person, please, man, please, sir, go to BB&T Open. I think it's BB&T OpenAtlanta.com, or just Google it up. Tickets are now open and available now. The tournament starts on the 22nd. I think Venus is scheduled to play her exhibition match either the 23rd or the 24th, but please go on there because those tickets for her match, I'm sure, are going to sell out very quickly. But if you want to get a chance to see a living legend, might be your only opportunity to see her, while she's, still, quote-unquote, in her prime. Again, BB&T Open is going to have it right there. Well, speaking of in the prime, one guy's out of his prime, Mr. Floyd Mayweather, and he is taking on Mr. Conor McGregor. A lot of hype behind this fight. And now 2 questions, because we're going to play a clip from him in just a second. Now starting to come out, which makes some sense now, that Floyd evidently has some financial problems with the United States government to the tune of $22 million.
Yes.
So, and Floyd has said to the U.S., hey, good news. I got about $100 million coming up, but that's not to August. So if you can wait, I can have your money. I'm always concerned when a fighter, especially guys been fighting as long as he has, when the reason for the fight is more than just I'm gonna get this guy or maintain my legacy when there's money involved, because that's how usually it doesn't end well for you. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I mean, maybe if we were talking about something else, but I just don't think that. I don't think McGregor, as much as he talks, as much as he is, I just don't think McGregor can beat Floyd. I don't care if Floyd was 43 or 44 or 45.
And Floyd knows that, too.
I really think Floyd knows that. I mean, I will not be buying the fight. I will not be purchasing the fight. However, I will watch it. You know, somebody's going to buy it.
Right, so
somebody going to buy it. So, I'm not chipping in because the fight on the pay-per-view is going to be like $99, for the HD version of it. Mm-hmm. So, basically it should be called an exhibition fight. Why? Because this should not in any ways inflict on anybody's record, if you ask me. Just because, it shouldn't. Because this guy is an amateur fighter at this moment at boxing.
Yeah.
He's an amateur boxer. He hadn't even. I don't even think he might have fought some amateur stuff, but he's never had a professional fight.
Yeah.
So how are we even going to count this against the record? It's crazy. The hype machine is going. They had about 15 or 20,000 people at the press conference.
Before you should mention it, matter of fact, we're going to actually hear a little clip of that, and you guys got to know that Floyd feels the same way. He feels that this is a joke, and that there's no way this guy's going to be able to beat him.
Easy money.
So that's it. But yeah, we'll go to that in just a minute. But here's the thing, man. I always get kind of concerned when a guy says, I owe money to the government, and telling the government, hey, as soon as I get this fight out of the way, then I'll be able to handle my business. So just a little concerned with that, because that means that you're fighting for reasons other than just saying, hey, like you say, guy, I'm gonna beat this guy behind.
So you don't think he got 22 million?
That's what I'm about to say. Yeah, you don't really think he has it? I think he has it.
No, I think he has it, but the terminology that was used, and we all know what this word means here. He says the assets weren't as readily liquid, because the government, a lot of times when you're dealing with that kind of money, they don't want to hear about settlement or payment terms. They want a check.
No, that's 22 million.
Right, which is a lot of money. Listen, guys, we're going to play that Floyd Mayweather clip when we come back. We got to go to a break. You're listening to the Real Talk Sports Show, and keep it locked right here, because you're going to hear Floyd, in rare form.
Yes,
All right, guys, you can see here I have.
He's showing it about them chips. Hold on. Talking about goof up in here.
I thought it was coming through.
Got me some homage.
Humas.
But no.
Let me tell you something funny to me. Boy, this thing tickled me today.
Let me tell you something. It's all right, Sarah. Let me
Tell you something funny.
Let me tell you something.
You know y'all gonna lose on the third, right?
Who?
The Georgia Tech.
Man,
I saw it in a dream, man.
You better
It was not a dream.
He said he saw in a dream they're gonna lose to Georgia Tech.
It was a vision. It was a vision, man. I promise. I woke up laughing. I woke up laughing because me and you was somewhere together. I don't know what we were watching this game, but you was crying and carrying on and upset.
He was just rolling out his chair laughing.
You might be still sleeping.
I could be.
That's a sickness now.
I could be.
It's a condition that is not going to work.
Hey, Mal.
That ain't going to work.
4-0, baby. ACC.
All right, we're going to plug this back in, guys, so you can hear the rest of the show, because I got a crazy man here. Listen, we got a great guest coming up to join us in just a second. It's going to be Miss Sabrina Crawford talking to us about a great event that's coming up, so hang tight.
Oh, my goodness.
definitely check with Michael. I think they probably don't. And you know,
But my store is not in Clayton County, but I
all right.
we try to do something.
It's really good, guys. I'm trying to eat while I'm on the air, but I got kind of hungry. I really do. At least I'm eating healthy.
We're about to come back.
I'm about to come back. All right, can't eat anymore. I got Mike on the air.
Y'all call him a name.
Two young guns took a break. I don't even know if they made it to the bathroom. They are very, very excited. As you can see, I showed them some love. Miles T, a big Tennessee fan. VJ, a big Alabama fan. Now, you Facebook guys, unfortunately, didn't hear that because Miles was feed his face.
Well,
Amen. But that's okay, though. We're not mad at you. You're all right. You're all right. You listen to the Real Talk Sports Show. Phone lines are now back open, 404-361-1571. We're going to ask the question here, talk a little bit about the other news that was breaking. SEC Media Days going on right now. I want to get your opinion. We're going to ask a couple of questions, guys. We're going to ask number one, do you think the SEC is no longer the big boys on the block? Has the ACC caught and surpassed them? And number two, do you think this SEC Media Days, are we really learning anything out of this, or what's going on? All right, BJ, come on. I'm going to let you go ahead and jump in. I know you're about to swig some of that water, but no, we can get you right in there. Go ahead.
No, that's fine. SEC Media Day. No, I don't think the ACC is overtaking the SEC. They did last year. They were better last year.
1 year.
But overall,
Let him finish.
the last 5+ years, I do feel, and everybody has seen the SEC's dominance. But now what we're starting to see is other conferences are starting to try to step up to the plate, which we cannot look past the fact that conferences like the Big Ten, the ACC, they are stepping up. They are trying to overtake the SEC. Have they done that just yet? No. I think that will take a few years for that to happen, just because of the simple fact of what the SEC has done over the course of college football. Even when they started the new top four playoffs, well, Ohio State actually beat Alabama, so that was a step in the right direction, and that was a surprise for a lot of us, because we were like, man, the top dog in the SEC really just lost. But if you saw that game, Ohio State, they came ready. So it's all about who laces up and who's ready to show up on the field. And I think teams will try to get better and better, but I still think the SEC is still the man.
Well, I'll say Alabama is still that team, because it's Alabama and then everybody else.
You right.
Tiered all up on it. Now, I can understand that, and you cheering for Alabama and you being an Alabama man, I do understand what you're saying.
Alumni.
It is Alabama and everybody else. So everybody else falls up under that. I don't think if you go conference to conference around, if you take the top 3 or 4 teams out of each conference, I really, really don't think there's going to be too much difference. It'd still be Alabama.
Yeah.
But, out of the other 3 or 4 that are in that conference, I really don't think there's much difference between them and the other top 2 or 3 in the other conferences that are out there.
Yeah.
I really don't think so. And you can yawn all you want to, Miles. You can say I've been waiting on you to say something. All you're gonna talk about is Tennessee. All you're gonna do is talk about this. No, I'm not saying anything. I didn't say the ACC was this or the ACC was that. I just think that from 2 to 3. I mean, from Alabama to y'all, whatever. After Alabama, everything else is pretty much even.
Yeah.
Well, to answer that question,
ahead.
we did have the most teams in the bowl games last year. Once again, we had 13 teams out of our conference that went to bowl games.
Fantastic.
That's fine.
So that's top to bottom. So
Okay.
we only had one team that didn't make it to a bowl game.
That's good.
All right.
And so that just shows
How many teams in your conference?
14, I believe.
And you had 13 teams in the. And you sure about that number?
I'm pretty sure.
You
If
positive
it wasn't
about- you
13,
positive?
it's 12.
Oh, okay. Well,
give me one.
Now, which
I'm
one
pre-
is it?
I'm
Now,
pretty
which one
sure
is
it's
it? Now,
13.
which one is it?
Give or take one.
Man,
Give or
I'll tell you
take
what,
one.
you
But
gonna do some studying and get
how
some
many-
facts
how
before
many-
you go to talking and going
How
crazy.
many teams did the ACC have in there? That's what I'm saying. Not
Okay,
they maybe
so
have 7.
wait a
But
minute.
we talking about the best conference now. That's what we're talking
Okay,
about.
let's do this. First of all, Ken he basically punked you out, bro, because because you didn't really understand what your boys
pretty
do.
sure it was 13.
Actually, all 14 teams went.
Yeah.
Okay.
Missouri didn't make it though.
No,
didn't make a bowl
I
game.
think Missouri.
They only won like 5.
Well, here's what it's saying here. According to CBS College Sports says this. It says the record for the Southeast Conference last year in the bowl games was a gaudy 7-7.
Okay.
Okay?
Okay.
Here are the teams that won for the Southeast Conference. And all these teams appear to be powerhouse teams, I think.
So basically, the powerhouse team still represented
Well, no,
the
let
SEC.
me finish. Here we go.
Okay.
We got Mississippi State won, Georgia won, your boys Tennessee won,
Dominated.
LSU won. Now here's the thing that's kind of bizarre. They're actually giving Alabama credit for the semifinal win. Okay,
Well, it is a bowl game.
Technically
It is
a bowl game. They are giving
technically
credit
it's a
for
bowl
that.
game. It is
Yeah,
a bowl
I
game.
Florida won.
Peach Bowl.
So y'all did all right.
Yeah.
But after
Georgia
that,
won too.
it fell off. It
You
fell
did,
off.
Georgia.
It fell off quite a bit. Losses: Vanderbilt, Texas A&M, South Carolina, Arkansas, Kentucky, Auburn. And now here's a weird thing: they now credit Alabama, which of course they did, with the loss in the college football championship. So
Win and loss.
But I mean, I really truly think top to bottom we still the best conference. All from top to bottom. Once again, Alabama. Yes, it is Alabama, the number one.
And everyone else.
No, it's not everyone else because
Yes, it is,
everyone
too.
else can hang with anybody. Our top 7 teams, are probably 7 of the teams that you just named could go anywhere in the country and beat anybody on any given Sunday.
talking
On
about
any
that.
given Saturday. I'm telling you how to show.
Slow down, Miles, so they can understand what you're saying.
Now,
Now.
here-
Any team in
Take
the
a-
SEC,
take a
the
deep
top
breath.
7 teams
Okay.
can go anywhere in the country and beat anybody on any given Saturday.
There's something
At
very
any
interesting.
time, home or away.
I could say that about any conference that you have.
That's
What you
not
talking
true.
about?
That's not true.
What are you talking
can
about?
match it up. The ACC got 4 and Big Ten got 4.
Well, here's
That's it.
something very interesting. Now, you talk about the ACC. Now, how many teams do you think they sent to bowl games last year?
What, 9, 10? I mean, yeah.
Well, here's what happened. The overall record of the ACC last year, ACC conference, was 9 wins and only 3 losses.
Okay.
Okay,
Well, we just said they was the best conference last year.
I'm just saying
Last year, that's
they
one
were
year.
9-3 last year in bowl games.
Okay.
So, and by the way, the national champion came from the ACC.
Well,
How
It
one
won't
came
this
from the ACC.
okay. Well, I mean,
You know.
I'm still trying to get your point. And what did you saying that did they surpass the SEC? Yeah, you got to have some consistency with that.
Okay.
First.
Well,
now
You
here's-
can't do
now
one
here's-
year
here's another thing to
and then
consider.
jump the big dog.
Here's another thing to
That one
consider.
year. Come on.
That the SEC at one point, we remember, I think it was 2 years ago, at one point they had 4 teams all ranked in that college football playoff. So we're going to give them credit. Unfortunately, by the time the end of the season, however, only one of them teams remained.
Right.
Okay. And to be very candid and very upfront about this, you are aware that there are 2 teams that have, went in there and done some business. It's not just Alabama. Clemson has been to the national championship series twice as well.
That's one of the 4 teams I'm talking about out of the ACC.
I'm just saying.
Okay, that's fine. And y'all can sit here and say or not believe that the gap has shrunk.
Oh, that has shrunk.
Okay.
I
Not
said
that-
it ain't-
okay,
it
well,
ain't
not that
past
much.
it yet.
Gap is gone,
Don't
baby.
act like
It shrunk a little bit.
don't act like that. Your conference is so dominant that y'all can beat that anybody besides Alabama can go anywhere and do anything. No, you can't.
We are talented enough. We got teams that can go into
you
anybody's
can't. No,
house.
you can't. No,
Yes,
you
they-
can't.
yes, we do.
And no, you don't.
Okay.
Your team, LSU, went to Wisconsin last year. What'd they do?
They didn't go to Wisconsin. They went to Green
wherever,
Bay.
wherever it was, Green Bay, wherever it was, they was in Wisconsin.
Didn't the coach get fired? Didn't he get fired?
They still-
we knew
Something to brag about?
We knew. No, I'm just saying. We knew he didn't have no
We knew he
offense.
didn't have no
That's
offense,
what-
and we
But
needed-
LSU got probably the top 2 recruiting classes top 4 recruiting classes the last 4 or 5 years. You know what I'm saying? So the talent was there. They played that bad in Wisconsin. They just let them stick around enough to where they just got a little lucky and won at the end.
So what happened?
So you sitting there saying you gonna tell me Wisconsin's the more talented team than LSU? You gonna tell me that?
I don't think they were.
Okay,
I
exactly, so-
don't think they were. But we're not talking about talent. We're talking about wins and losses.
Okay.
That's what we're talking about. So
I'm just saying.
so it doesn't matter. Talent can get you there and can be in the game, but at the end of the day, it's all about the W or the L.
And
Who got it?
And it's about the coaching. If you got the talent, but you got to do something with the talent, that you got to coach it right.
Well, it's funny you talk about this because if we look at the final AP top 25 poll last year, we had Clemson at 1, Alabama at 2, USC at 3, Washington at 4, Oklahoma 5, Ohio State 6, Penn State 7, Florida State 8, Wisconsin 9, Michigan 10, Oklahoma State. Oh, notice what I haven't read. An SEC team.
And it hadn't been an SEC team or ACC team for that.
I think that lasted, like 1 month after the season was over.
We may get a chance to settle this again because they did say that we might get a preview of the national championship in the Alabama-Florida State game, the first game of the season.
It's going to come out. They're going to be number 1. Florida State's going to be number 2. It's going to be a great game.
We might have an ACC again.
Well, we're going to have some SEC ACC action back to back because two fellows right here. Their teams are going to clash as well.
True.
And we're going to end all this talk about Georgia Tech
and get out of that dreaming, Martin Luther King.
I had a vision. It was not a dream. I had a vision. Wow. I seen it in a dream. And we were sitting there, Miles, and I just started laughing because, it was quite comical because tears were coming out of your eyes almost like they're coming out right now.
God. Well, listen, guys, we're going to go to a quick break. When we come back, we're going to wrap it up, talk a little bit about what we've seen so far in the NBA Summer League. We didn't talk about that. And we also are going to ask the question, is sports entertainment, is that the next big economic bubble going to burst?
Go Vols.
This is Minister Jonathan Simmons. Everybody needs to be encouraged and inspired. And that's why I'm inviting you to join me on the Clarion Call broadcast every Wednesday, 9:30 a.m. here on Atlanta's Incredible Radio, WIGO 1570. The show brings you inspiration from the Word of God and information from great guests to help you make it through the week. It's the Clarion Call Show, Wednesdays, 9:30 a.m. here on WIGO. You can also listen on your mobile device with the free TuneIn Radio application. Remember to check us out online at www.clarioncallshow.com.
Wisconsin only won they played like the Big Sky
3 and 4. They were like 3 and 4. I'm sorry, 5 and 6. Because 3 and 4 obviously was in the top 4, but that was a really good game.
Yeah, Penn State. They was the best team in the Big Ten last year, and they got left out the final four.
We just had a lot of quarterback problems too. Like everybody, it wasn't the same like quarterback play. Well, I'm just saying, like LSU was down quarterbacks. Everybody had like this little quarterback situation.
Yeah, they calling me a Jesus freak. I'm just following all the
Alrighty, we are back. Welcome to the final segment of the Real Talk Sports Show. I'm your host, Minister Jonathan Simmons. Also with me in the booth, Miles T.
Yes, sir.
Mr. VJ and Captain America, Mr. Ken Swilling, all here in the building.
Yes.
All right, guys. Should we really look at anything that we're seeing in the summer league for the NBA? I mean, what can we glean from what we've seen so far?
I guess everybody's excited just to see, how the draft picks will perform. But I know a lot of people gave Lonzo Ball a rough time because he struggled in his first game, but then he came back. His next game, he had a triple doubles, 11, 11, and 11,
right?
Which he was out there throwing dimes a little bit like Magic. Those assists, they look really good. So I think it's big for everybody just to get that first taste of what they're going to be getting for their team. I don't think people should play too much into it just because it is the summer league. So you can't define a player based off of how they're playing in the summer league because they still have an entire NBA season to go. So it's good to see them out there it's a workout for them. They're getting their legs in the NBA. They're running. They're just getting comfortable. So I don't think you should play too much into that.
Yeah, because you can tell if a guy can go get it, if he can hustle, if he gonna do whatever. I tell you, the young fella John Collins looked pretty good the other night. I thought he really impressed me a little bit. He had 22 points, 11, 12 rebounds or whatever it was. it's still going to be a work in progress. Bembry looked good the other night. He's a second-year player. Yep. So your first and second-year players get a chance to kind of build some bond, you build a little bond and be a little cohesive together. And you kind of, you get a chance to see what you got. It's going to be a long season for the Hawks. So I'm bracing myself now. I'm trying to have a really positive attitude, and really, get involved with football season early on this season. Enjoy myself.
He's already throwing the towel in.
No, I'm not throwing the towel in. I'm throwing the towel in because we need to throw the towel in.
Yeah.
I don't think we need to win no more than 20 games this year.
I don't think we can win no more than 20
well,
games.
if we can, I hope we don't. Because I want to be somewhere in the top of the lottery or somewhere. Coming up next year, in the next 2 years, I think we have 5 first-round picks. So, that's going to help us out. And getting into a lottery position would help us get a ball player into this situation, and a star, which this city hasn't had in almost 30 years. So,
so you're looking from the tank, basically.
I need him to tank.
Wow.
I'm praying for the tank.
Well,
just like the Falcons are embracing the suck, I'm embracing the tank.
The tank.
Well, I'm gonna agree with the summer league thing. It's not really a big deal. You can't really go by that for what they're gonna do against the real top notch level guys at the NBA. I don't know. I'm a little reading into that Ball and Fox matchup. I don't think he wanted none of Fox either.
He done had a taste of the Fox.
Yeah, exactly. I don't think he wanted it again. I'm gonna leave that alone. So you never know. But I don't know how you got injured. They didn't really disclose the injury.
They don't have to disclose it. But
that's what I'm saying. So I think it was a little fear there in his heart. But that's a bad boy.
He had plenty enough chance.
I think Fox is going to be Rookie of the Year. That's my opinion. Either him or Ben Simmons. That's my guess. But that's my opinion.
You know who's really showed out during this time is Bam about how you say his name? The kid from Kentucky, about Balju, or how his name? The big guy. Mm-hmm. He's really showed out. Man. He had a lot of blocks, dunks, carrying on. Running the floor really nice. So it's going to be interesting to see. Like you said, you can't really read anything into it. It is. Half the guys they're playing against won't even be on anybody's roster.
That's right.
They're playing overseas.
Right.
So you really can't buy a whole lot into it. You just hope that. It's like preseason football. You hope none of you guys get hurt. It
really has been. It's been a hit or miss so far. If you look at the history of the NBA Summer League, you look at the top 50 scores, for example. Probably about 40% of those guys actually turn out to be, starters and all-stars. Guys on the list like John Wall and Bradley Beal, all on that top, 25 or 30 all-time scorers in the summer. But at the end of the day, there's a bunch of other guys. You're saying who? What? You've never heard of them in your life.
Right.
Okay, so can you get a little bit? Yeah. You look at guys like Tatum. He's looked pretty good for the Celtics and some of the other players. But at the end of the day, right.
Solid.
At the end of the day, I think that the baby Hawks are going to surprise people. The only right, see everybody laughing.
You just got to do that, though. You just got
there's always
you just got to keep hope alive.
For somebody that wasn't born and raised in the city of Atlanta, man, you bleed red and black, man. I tell you, man, you are, and whatever it is, boat green, whatever it is now. Everything Atlanta, you go hard for, man. I got to get. Hey, my hat. I'm telling you right now.
Standing ovation. Standing ovation.
Hit it with the slow.
All right. Okay.
Mr. Simmons is over.
Okay. It's over to say this.
It's over.
All right. I'm first of all shocked at you, Captain America, that you would take these types of shots at the people. Considering that I held up the blue and antique gold and white. When all others mocked me when I said they're a 9-win team, and when they went down, lost 4 straight, everybody looking at me like, oh, yeah? But now they win 9 games. They went up and beat 3 SEC teams in 4 games. Bam, bam, bam. One of them at home.
Mm-hmm. Well, the things.
Just saying.
Stranger things have happened.
Yeah.
But, this would take, unless you're going to go down every week and really lay hands on the court, the basketball, the coaches, the players, and do all of this, it might come to that.
They need that secret stuff.
Look, I mean, here's the thing. At the end of the day, yes, I understand what you're telling me. You're saying, listen, Atlanta finished almost dead last in the scoring percentile when Paul Millsap was not on the floor.
Exactly.
And Paul Millsap will not be on the floor for not 1 second
Nope.
all year. I get it. I will say this, though. I do think that if, in fact, they do something I've been waiting for Atlanta coaches to do for eons, as when you have a young team, you need to move the ball up and down the court and wear people out. You got a bunch of rookies starting. These guys got fresh legs. I would make you pay a terrible price every time you come to play us. But I'd have these guys moving up and down the court because here's the thing. You now have something you didn't have before. You have legitimate big men that can run the court.
That's true.
And if you look in the case of Collins, and this is what I knew.
He's not that athletic, though. Collins ain't that athletic.
Slow down.
You haven't seen him play now. He's very athletic.
Right.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know what you're talking about.
Here's the thing. Now, okay, are you asking me, can he run the floor like a 6'5" swing guard? No, Miles, you're right. He can't do that. But what I'm saying to you is, it was one of the reasons why I knew that even though Atlanta might have thought about bringing Paul Millsap back, because, you know, really at the number that he signed, if you just take all the stuff aside, the number he signed was the number you said, if you knew at the beginning of this whole free agency that Paul Millsap was signed for $30 million in only 3 years, most Atlanta fans would say, we can live with that. Okay, we're not paying them because the numbers they were throwing around that seemed crazy were 5 150,
right.
4 135. Yeah, you're thinking we're not going to do that, but 3 year 90, and you have an option on the third year. Well, why not? I'll take a shot at that. But at the end of the day, as soon as I heard John Collins answer the question that we asked him when we said, hey, what player in the NBA currently do you model your game after, or do you think you're most like? He said, I know this is going to sound funny. He said, but the guy we look at is Paul Millsap. I said, oh, gone. Gone. I mean, because basically what he's telling you is that my game and his game, of course, he's not as muscular as Paul is right now, but that'll take time. But as far as his ability to make the tough 15-foot shot in, okay, the ability to run up and down the floor, the ability not to be afraid to mix it. Because listen, man, I'm not afraid at all. As a matter of fact, I like contact. To the point where, if you remember, he had foul trouble in college.
Right.
So this is not your typical, slender wing, kind of 4 stretch 5 guy that you think can't take any kind of pounding in the NBA. I mean, this is a guy that I think relishes the combat. You see, he's not afraid to go to the basket, at least in the summer league. And I think that, again, they have enough. Well, I have to kind of preface it with that because it is the summer.
Exactly.
But I do think that they do have enough speed on this team to really be able to get after you. And I think in terms of you do have 1 or 2 players that can defend pretty well. And a guy who I really think is going to have a breakout season, and you saw glimpses of this at the end of last year in the playoff, the Torian Prince. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy is the real deal. I mean, I think that
if he buds and has one of those breakout kind of moments,
right.
If he continues and Dennis continues to give you some consistency and you get good Dennis more than you get bad Dennis. I mean, you could possibly do some things, but I still don't need him to win 20 games or more.
Well, I hate to tell you, but they are going to win 20 games or more.
I know.
This Hawk team is probably going to just find their way in that 8th spot.
I know.
And make the playoffs because again, this team is good enough. They are good enough to do it because again, barring injury, again, all these a lot of ifs, ands, and buts. Barring injury, this is a team that I think if they use the speed that the team has, they use the defensive ability this team has shown. And potentially can show this is a team that can do it. And last but not least, gentlemen, what conference do they play in?
I was about to say
the Eastern Conference,
because out from the top 3, 4 through the 8th spot is up in the air.
It's going to be 38 to 40 wins,
right?
Maybe.
Right.
There's 3 teams that's going to be out that was in last year. They're already out. They're already replaced with other teams now. So the Indiana's not going to make it this year. Chicago's not going to make it, and Atlanta's not going to make it.
Hey.
They're going to be replaced with.
Well, and here's what
Charlotte. Y'all better watch out for Charlotte.
And
Charlotte
is not
playing.
And we have to wrap everything up. About 10 years ago, the Hawks were in a somewhat similar situation, made some bad picks, bad drafting, bad contracts, and they limped their way to what Ken said about 38 or 39 win season. Mm-hmm. And they had the great opportunity to everybody say get swept because they were facing the Boston Celtics when they just got the big 3 and when they were factory fresh. I can tell you, in back-to-back years, those were 2 of the greatest playoff series I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And the Hawks took them to the wire.
The Hawks had some good talent.
Hold on a second. You saying the Hawks had good talent because you see what it is. You a guy that's into like flash and physical speed, jumping. So you like the fact they had Josh Smith. That's all.
Joe Johnson.
And Joe Johnson. I'm shocked. A guy that Anyway, let me get
Back
out of here,
back
folks.
then, Joe was the man.
No, he
Joe
was, but I
the
mean,
man.
but I see I see your whole vibe. But now, where did Joe go to school?
Arkansas.
Okay, there we go, the SEC. So that's all I'm going to say. I'm going to get right out of here right there, okay? All right, guys, let's wrap it up. Go around the booth. Go ahead. Get them chips out your mouth, too, while you're talking. Go ahead.
Man, Miles T. Tune in, Game Time Sports Talk Radio, Friday nights, 8:30, 9:30. Live, laugh, love. Peace out, y'all. God bless.
You heard Miles. Tune in Friday. Good night, everybody, and always roll tide.
Good night, and as always, love more and hate a little bit less. Miles, I love you, brother. I just want you to know that even though your team will take that L in about a few weeks.
I don't know. I don't know how quite to come behind that. When Captain America goes like that, I'm just going to leave it like this, folks. You know, I tell you each and every week, if you don't know Jesus Christ as your personal Savior, please, man, please, sir, get to know him today. Nobody loves you like Jesus. You can tune in. You hear the minister actually be a minister. Tomorrow morning, 9:30 a.m. on the Clarion Call Show. I really do a nice show with Miss April and Lance Sentmanot.